Everyone, it's me, Chris, and here today we're going to talk about the shoulder to waist ratio and how you can improve that, ways you can improve that shoulder to waist ratio. Okay, first off, how this is relevant. So a lot of people would just think, okay, I'm a normal person, this doesn't apply to me. But a lot of us, when we train, exercise and all that stuff, we all do it to look good. We all want to look good. We want to feel good about how we look. Okay, so where this comes from is those ancient Greek ideals of how they mathematically figured out beauty. So they had the golden ratio, which is about 1.62. So for them, in this case, your shoulders should be 1.62 times larger than your waist. Okay, or we could say 1.6 for simplicity. So waist. Again, these numbers are the figures are based around the golden ratio. It's also known as the Adonis Index. Okay, so cultures all over the world, they're influenced by this because it's about physical attractiveness. So everything falling into these ratios, it's a little bit easier for the brain to process, and when it is easier for the brain to process that information, it finds it attractive. So this is kind of more like a universal attractiveness guide, and this is not a judgment on anyone or anything like that. This is just what we know from aesthetics. So everybody trying to look good, on top of getting healthy, falls into this aesthetics game. Okay. Also, shoulder to waist ratio is also a good indicator of health, because if you have a lot of fat around the abdominals, that ratio, of course, is going to be smaller. Be smaller than 1.6, right? 1 to 1.6. I'm sorry, 1 to 1.6. So, of course, that's going to be an indicator of health, because if you're smaller around the abdominals, you're deemed to be healthy, or you're more than likely or less likely to come down with health issues because you don't carry excess active metabolic tissue. So keep that in mind. So what they found was this ratio, it was easier for the brain to process the info. So the brain found that pleasing and more attractive. So in this case, if you had a 30-inch waist, then they're looking for you to be about 48 and a half inches around the shoulders. Okay, and the more that you stay close to this ratio is the more attractiveness. Now, this doesn't just play out in the shoulders and shoulders and the waist. Sometimes it's waist to hip for women. Their ratio is 1.4, I believe. Eyes to nose to, it plays out all over the body. But mathematically, they find that the most pleasing. Okay, that 1.6. With a lot of us with weight training, of course, we're trying to get bigger, broader shoulders, more muscular shoulders like that to try to fulfill out that ratio. So the way that I look at that is that's mostly going to be medial delt, and of course rear delt, because if you have an overpowering chest and anterior delts like a lot of people have, if those shoulders round forward, you're not going to get the full spread out of your back. Your back doesn't fully spread out. So those retractors of the scapula, those upper back muscles, and the rear delts is also going to play a role. And that also makes your shoulder bigger, so that when someone looks at you head on, you look bigger, wider, and things like that. So I am big into lateral raises. Okay. Of course, I do my shoulder press. My shoulder press is a big deal, and it's a big thing. But with my shoulder presses, there's 3 variations. I go with a bar, to the front. I don't go to the back because I don't have the flexibility. Okay. Go to the bar to the front. Dumbbells in a pronated grip like this, and then of course dumbbells in a neutral grip, and I rotate those. Throughout the training gear. But more importantly, with the lateral raises, I work sometimes with something called positions of flexion. It was an old book written by Steve Holman. I think it was back in the 90s and stuff like that. And he would try to work the muscle in different positions, and that would contribute to the best muscle growth. And I kind of pair that with something, Michael Yessis wrote a book called Kinesiology of Exercises. So again, the muscles were in different positions. So say this, with my lateral raises, okay, I make sure that I have the other two positions, because the shoulder press, as far as the medial delt goes, that's the middle head of your shoulder. As far as the medial delt goes, is the mid-range position if you're going by Steve Holman's positions of flexion. So you have the mid-range, the stretch position, and the fully contracted. The stretch position and the fully contracted position. All right. The shoulder presses take care of the mid-range. All right, so most people only do one lateral raise, and they only do the regular lateral raise. That is a fully contracted, okay? So I use different exercises. Like I will use either the incline lateral raise or the cable lateral raise, and that will work the medial delt from a stretch position, okay? And with the regular lateral raise, I rotate lean away lateral raises and upright rows, lean away lateral raises, upright rows, and a chest supported lateral raise where I'm leaning against the deal there. That one is very good because you have a lot of people, like I said earlier, their shoulders are inwardly rotated, and so when they try to come up, when they try to bring that arm up, they can't get their medial head on top. Okay, actually, let's back that up. I'll call the chest supported lateral raise. I'm not sure what this variation is called, but I'll take a bench. I'll take an incline bench, and instead of making that all the way up where it's just straight perpendicular to the ground at 90 degrees, I'll bring it a little bit forward. So if you have inwardly rotated shoulders, if I lean you forward, when you bring that arm up, you'll still be able to hit that medial delt. Okay, so that's a good variation of the lateral raise to have. So it's not just about that one. I use the lean away lateral raise sometimes, because I can control the dumbbell and increase my time under tension, because normally you do a lateral raise, you can't hold the top. Okay, you can't hold that top position. With the lean away, you can hold the top position. Okay. With the incline lateral raise, you have tension on the muscle, on the head, the medial head of the delts, where you don't normally have it. So by turning me sideways, the way that weight is pulling back down and toward the ground and stuff like that, I'll have tension when I first lift the weight off my leg, where I normally wouldn't have that tension. Because when you do the normal lateral raise, gravity pulls straight down, so it stops right before those weights hit your side. So think about that. But anyway, I'm with those lateral raises. The lean away lateral raise allows me to have a little bit more control at the top. The cable lateral raise works. It's not as good. I don't say it's not as good. It's not exactly the same as the incline lateral raise, because what happens is it pulls at the same angle, but the way the cable works, is that the tension is even throughout the range of motion. Okay, whereas when you're doing the incline lateral raise, when that arm is right up against your leg, or that weight is laying against your leg, that is when the weight is furthest from the joint. So there's going to be more. Even though you're still in the stretch position, there's going to be more, that muscle's going to have to work harder, because with dumbbells or free weights, the further that a weight is from your joint, the harder that muscle has to work. Okay, so I combine all of those and my different positions for the reverse fly and the shoulder press to help get greater shoulder development. But there's one more thing I want you to think about, okay? Because there's two ways for you to mess with that, to influence that ratio. You can get bigger shoulders, which there's going to be a limit to how big your shoulders are, because that's sometimes influenced by how long your clavicles are and all that, right? You can get bigger shoulders or in some cases you can get your waist size under control. So right now I'm slightly out of control. So I'm at about 32.5. So my ratios in my shoulders are about 46.5. So my ratio is about 1.5 ish. Okay. But my waistline, and in this, they measure from the umbilical. They don't measure from the waist. They measure around the umbilical. Okay. So I'm a little chubbier, or my love handles are a little out of control. So I can diet down a little bit and make my waist smaller, or make myself smaller around the umbilical, and then that would also fix that ratio. So you don't always have to go shoulders bigger. There's a limit to how big you can get your shoulders. You can also make your waistline smaller by getting your diet under control. Let me know if you have any questions, and until next time.